What are they on? What are they thinking about? Like, did she really fix her lips to say this? Let's check it out, man.
We need real accountability because at the end of the day, the people that have been inflicting this harm need to be prosecuted. They need to be brought before us and they need to be held account for the trauma that they have created. And we are going to have some form of reparation.
Not the Latina Democrats up here talking about they need reparations because of ICE raids. What is going on in 2026? Y'all, I don't know what type of timeline this is, but reparations. Oh my, wait a minute. Because are they losing the plot? This is why I keep saying, y'all, we got to get off the Democratic plantation because they're fighting for reparations for illegal immigrants. Like, everybody keeps saying, oh, ICE is ICE. Do y'all know what ICE is? ICE is a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Is the primary federal agency under the Department of Homeland Security responsible for enforcing immigration laws and investigating cross-border crime. ICE focuses on detaining and deporting undocumented immigrants and investigating transnational crimes, including human smuggling and trade violations. So they deserve the illegal immigrants. Child, I'm stumped. As a Black American and all that we've experienced in this country, Democrats have said time and time again why they couldn't give us reparations or why we don't deserve it and how would they calculate it. Yet they're so willy-nilly and gung-ho to be advocating for reparations for people that came into the country illegally. And I don't need y'all to get up in my comments popping and talking about, oh, it's because they was detaining somebody is something that law or all types of law enforcement does. The reason why our crime statistics look the way that they do because we always get unlawfully detained at higher and disproportionate rates other than in comparison to other groups of people. Being detained doesn't mean that you're getting deported. So, of course, sometimes they might make a mistake, but they let you go. But y'all think y'all deserve reparations for that? Oh, they really trying to get us out in the street, y'all. Something is going on. Because we keep saying, oh, we're sitting this one out. We're going to chill. You know, we gonna party and bullshit and work and do what we need to do behind the scenes. But could y'all imagine if they gave illegal immigrants reparations for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement doing their job? Now, I don't agree with brute force. I don't agree with any of those things, but when we've been on the chopping block, they say, oh, just comply. So if you just comply, they ain't got to drag you out your car. If they say get out your car, get out your car. They ain't got to drag you. If you don't run off and leave your little 6-year-old son by himself, they don't got to escort your son and your kids nowhere. They probably will be able to go with you. Just comply. Or do the proper paperwork route to legalize yourself. There's immigration laws in every country in the world. But for some reason, when it comes to the United States of America, y'all feel like it's a free-for-all. First, it was the Somalis saying that they deserve reparations. Now it's the Latin Democrats. Child, what y'all think? Do they? I don't even know what to say. Spread love is the Brooklyn way. What y'all think about this? I really feel like this might cause a riot in the street. Like, I don't.
This Representative Jayabal Democrat is saying that if they win the mid-election, they need to give reparations to the children and families traumatized by ICE. Need to be held account for the trauma that they have created, and we are going to have some form of reparation for the kids and the families that have been traumatized through all of this. Not the Black Americans that have been traumatized for over the last 450, 500 years in this country, or the ones that have been holding down the Democratic Party. No, When I tell you as Black Americans, you better stop taking your eyes off the prize, because you continue to make Democrats and everyone else out here think that we good. Black Americans is good, y'all. We need to focus on a whole new group of people here that have not even bought into this, paid into the system like we have. This is so disrespectful. Number one, who's going to pay for them reparations? Because it damn sure wouldn't be Black Americans paying reparations to people who came here hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years after us and ain't been a slave nowhere up in here. Nowhere. We're the ones that was picking cotton for free. We're the ones that built this country for 400 years for free. We are the women that were being legally raped in this country for centuries. No one else. How damn disrespectful of you to even talk about reparations for anyone other than us. This is what I'm saying about Black folks. We got to stop. We are letting people disrespect our ancestors. For this lady to even open up her mouth talking about reparations for anybody else in this damn country, she must be crazy. Where's Roland Martin? Where's Joyanne Reed? Where's Tamika Mallory? Where all y'all at? Y'all was so mad at Nicki Minaj, but you ain't got nothing to say about this woman saying immigrants deserve reparations before us? That's why I say it's fake outrage. Everyone should be mad as hell about this right here. I wish y'all would. You would never get another damn vote from me ever again.
All right, so let's make something real clear, right? What they are doing right now is the same thing that the Republicans did after Lincoln and the Reconstruction Project. They felt like they already had the Black vote, so they didn't want to have to do anything, and they stopped caring about the Black initiative. That's why they pulled out of the South and allowed the Democrats to take back over the South, because they figured they did what they needed to do, and they got the Blacks on their side, and the Blacks are going to keep voting Republican until the Blacks decided, you know what? We're not going to just keep blindly voting one party. The Democrats offered something that's going to help us financially with the New Deal, and they said we're going to jump ship. That New Deal come, and you're going to let us get into government jobs so we can feed our family and we can have some more money? We out of here. And that's what they did. So, me personally, if that's what you feel you need to do, but don't take your blind loyalty from one party and then just transfer it over to the next, because if you don't learn from your mistakes, you are bound to create the same mistakes again. That is why the Black community left the Republican Party in masses, because the Republican Party stopped looking out for the Black people. And they felt like they can get more if they went with the Democratic Party. And then the Democratic Party said, oh, well, we got the Black vote. We ain't worried about the Black vote. We're going to get that. Who else are they going to go to? That's why you see it's happening again. The transformation is happening again. It is. They're about to leave the Democratic Party and go to the Republican Party. Now, my thing about the whole situation is, this is my thoughts on it. Don't go from one place blindly just to another place blindly. You got to leave that where you left. Make them work. Make them both work. Let's get back to it, though.
Have a good day.
So with a quick question, because you know I'm way too mentally unstable to be dealing with this right now. Democrats, are you fucking dumb? Here we go. This is being reported by the HuffPost. House Democrats call for reparations for children and families traumatized by ICE. So, Representative Pramila Jayapal, a Democrat from Washington, on Friday called for federal reparations for the children and families who have been traumatized by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers amid the chaotic and lethal enforcement of President Donald Trump's immigration agenda. Jayapal made her case during a congressional hearing called Kidnapped and Disappeared: Trump's Attack on Children, which focused on the nationwide ICE deployments and the need for defensive reform to prevent federal agents from continuing to inflict emotional damage. That's what she said this shit is, emotional damage. And she says that, and then we also need offensive actions around prosecutions. We need real accountability because at the end of the day, the people that have been inflicting this harm need to be prosecuted. That I actually do agree with. It says she continued to say they need to be brought before us and they need to be held to account for the trauma they have created, and we're going to have some form of reparation for the kids and families that have been traumatized. So they're actually
Where'd it go? What just happened? What just happened, y'all? Let's get back to it.
saying that the number of children in immigration detention has skyrocketed. Federal immigration agents arrested more than 3,800 children between January and October 2025, per the Immigrants' Rights Clinic at Columbia Law School, and that was another analysis they did by the Guardian. So that's where they're getting the numbers of the 3,800 children. So Jay Paul on Friday called for these for-profit immigration detention centers to be abolished. And, and I agree with that to a certain extent, but she is absolutely batshit crazy when we have black people in this country who have not been awarded or given, I'm going to say, any kind of reparations. And we just saw the vote from all of the countries that happened overseas, and the United States was one of the countries that said no, slavery should not be categorized as one of the worst atrocities in history. And that no, African Americans or those of African American descent should not be given reparations. So let's just go over a really quick list here, just to remind everybody who the United States did pay reparations to. So my screenshot is over here, so I'm gonna be looking over here. Here we go. So 1971, the U.S. paid $1 billion plus 44 million acres of land to Alaska Natives for a land settlement. Here we go. 1980, the USA paid 81 million to a group of Native Americans in Oregon. I'm not pronouncing the names because I don't want to mispronounce the names of these tribes. 1985, the U.S. awarded 105 million to some Native Americans in South Dakota. 1985, the U.S. awarded 12.3 million to Seminoles of Florida. 1985, the U.S. awarded 31 million to another group of Native Americans in Wisconsin. 1990, 1.6 billion, or if you break it down, $20,000 per Japanese American citizen to what they did with the Japanese. And if we really want to add something else here, recently within the last 5 years, the governor over there in New York actually she awarded, I think it was about 180 something million to Holocaust survivors living in that state as well. So Democrats, you tell me that we are supposed to sit back and use our tax dollars to support immigrant families who were traumatized by ICE when black people are still fucked up from what happened to them. That's why we have this group of violent YNs that are out here just mad as shit and just crazy. I'm gonna just say it, because our atrocities were never recognized. And again, we are well aware that for some ungodly reason, every other demographic hates black people. We don't even know what the fuck for. I'm just going to be straight up. You tell me Asians don't like us. Indian people don't like us. Arabs don't like us. Who else the fuck is here? White people don't like us. Hispanic people don't like black people. What did we don't even know what we did. That's the crazy part. Other than existing and wanting to be treated fairly, and wanting to have a good place to live and a good education for our children and a job just like everybody else to pay for the things we need to pay for, black people still don't know what the fuck they did to piss all of these people off. Considering we're at the bottom of the totem pole. We have the
just being you and being conditioned. That's all it was. It was conditioning. You're not born with hate. No, a baby is not born hating someone. A child is not born hating someone. It is taught. It is conditioned. And that is what they did. They told everybody that we were the lowest of the low. We were the scum of the earth. We were animals. And if we were given the chance, we will do something to them. The whole while, the persons that are actually doing something to them are the ones that are feeding them the nonsense that they are relative to belief. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. It's not hard. It's not hard to understand for real. That's just what it is when it comes down to conditioning. When it comes down to what quote unquote brainwashing. Yeah. All you had to do is be born. Everything else was already in motion before you even got here.
The least generational wealth. We're the least represented in a plethora of these jobs. I know we're the least represented in corporate America. I'm the only black person on the corporate fucking leadership team. But yet these Democrats have the audacity to even utter the words that these immigrant children and families need reparations because of the trauma they were caused. Democrats, start with the fucking trauma that was caused by the United States toward Americans that are here. Because I trace my lineage. I know my family came in through North Carolina. So anywho, before I get further on a rant here, so this is, I'll put this link in the description for those that would like to read this article in its entirety. And let me show us really quickly this Democrat who suggested this. This is her. Just so we can put a face with a name, that's all. It's no violent anything, just putting a face with a name. So my name is Robin. I am your retired Marine Corps First Sergeant. I do not agree with this message from the Democrats. Hopefully I will see you in the next video.
Pramila Jayapal lays it out really well when she talks about reparations.
And we also need
Now you got the people out here mad because the United States voted against the United Nations resolution to recognize the transatlantic slave trade as the gravest crime against humanity. And I'm going to say this now. As a product of the transatlantic slave trade, it is not the gravest crime against humanity. Have you read about the Arab slave trade that was way worse and lasted way longer? For whatever reason, y'all continue to let these Arab motherfuckers off. Y'all love to get mad at the white man. Yeah, you can get mad at them all day. But there was an Arab slave trade that was way worse than the transatlantic slave trade, and it lasted longer, and nobody has anything to say about that. If anything, that's way worse than the transatlantic slave trade, but y'all don't want to believe that for whatever reason. Then on top of that, let's just look at what's happening in the United States. We're talking about reparations and how Donald Trump is so racist and America so racist, whatever. These same Democrat donkeys, these mules out here, they look at y'all in the face and saying, you know what? We don't believe that black folks should get reparations, but you know who should get it? The families that have been kidnapped by ICE agents. Have y'all not been paying attention to what's going on? These Democrats are trying to get the family and children of those who were traumatized by being kidnapped and being profiled by the ICE agents. They're trying to give them reparations. No matter what facts, what data out there that shows that black people have been done dirty on purpose by the government up until this day, we can't get reparations. But if ICE came in and kidnapped you and profiled you, oh yeah, we're gonna fight for them rights to help y'all get them reparations that you want so bad. So don't sit up here and try to call out Trump, try to call out the American government when the party that y'all vote for don't even.
That ideology right there is the problem. That ideology is why not? Why can't they call them out just like you're calling out the Democrats or the donkeys? You see how that works? You don't want to be called out for the people that you're representing or you're okay with, but you want to do the calling out. No, all of them need to be held to the same standard. Why hasn't these Republicans gave us our reparations? We need to hold these Republicans to the same standard that we're holding these Democrats. We need to hold everybody to the same standards. You can't, oh yeah, don't say nothing about this one. Right. And it goes vice versa to the other side, because that's what happens. We're going to talk about the other side bad, but when you talk about our bad, no, don't do that. Why not? They're complicit. With everything that took place in America. Everything that took place in America. Republicans and Democrats took a part in it. Yeah. Want to know how? By turning the other cheek, by looking the other way, knowing that it was still going on. Yeah. Yeah. And for all those who love to say, oh, Lincoln freed the slaves. Lincoln had no other choice but to free the slaves when they attacked. Yeah. If if the conservative Democrats did not attack the nation, Abraham Lincoln was okay with them still doing slavery. They don't tell you that part. They don't tell you that Abraham Lincoln was okay because he felt like they had their own control over their own state. And he was okay with it as long as they didn't push up into the nation. That was the only thing he had a problem with. Don't push up into the nation. You can do it down there, but don't bring it here. Don't bring it in my territory. And when they said, you know what? Nah, you ain't about to keep us like little dogs on a leash. We about to break loose and come at you. And they wind up losing. And that's when Abraham Lincoln got his mind changed by the radicals in the Republican Party. It's well documented. So when everybody giving Abraham Lincoln this credit as if was his idea from the beginning, it wasn't. His hand was forced. So this is why you got to hold everybody to the same standard. You got to hold everybody to the same standard. You got to call it out when it need to be called out. Let's keep going.
Want y'all to have reparations, but want the families and children of those traumatized by ICE to receive reparations. So I'm fishy about that.
Family, check out this video here with the Democrats asking for reparations for the immigrants.
Y'all check out this video of this Democratic representative that says that they need to pursue reparations for people who have been traumatized by ICE.
Also need offensive actions around prosecutions. We need real accountability because at the end of the day, the people that have been inflicting this harm need to be prosecuted. They need to be brought before us and they need to be held account for the trauma that they have created, and we are going to have some form of reparation.
Now, I ain't hear nobody ever talk about the atrocities, the unaliving in the street, running away from the cops, unalived in the back. I mean, it's been going on for 400 years. And since she's been in our country, it's still going on. In our houses, unalived. When did she ever say we deserve anything? These people are immigrants. They represent immigrants and family. We got to get them out of these outfits. We cannot vote. We cannot vote unless they have us some tangibles. We need to come together and get us a candidate and write them in or whatever. But these people not looking out for us. Definitely not the Democrats.
Why a lot of Black Americans more and more are starting. Y'all check out this.
It's happening.
Then we also need offensive actions around prosecutions. We need real accountability because at the end of the day, the people that have been inflicting this harm need to be prosecuted. They need to be brought before us and they need to be held account for the trauma that they have created, and we are going to have some form of reparation. Then we also need offensive actions around prosecutions. We need real accountability because at the end of the day, the people that have been inflicting this harm need to be prosecuted. They need to be brought before us and they need to be held account for the trauma that they have created, and we are going to have some form of reparation. Then we also need offensive actions around prosecution.
So I had to come back and do a part 2 of the USADF, or the United States African Development Foundation, which is business funds only for African businesses. And I can say that because the fund specifically says that the business has to be 100% African owned and 100% African managed. Not African American, African. All right? These people have had this fund since 1980 and they have been dumping hundreds of millions of dollars inside of it. Okay? I wanted to see how much money these people have received recently, and I came across the GAO, which is the Government Accountability Office, And they said between the years of 2019 and 2023, our government has used our taxpayers' dollars to give African businesses and startups $141 million. And this was spread out over around 1,050 businesses. So if you break that down, that means each one of those businesses roughly received between $134,000 and $135,000 for their business. But this is the people that gaslight black Americans. They tell us that they work so hard and we're lazy. They tell us that they're successful and we're lazy. They tell us that they're so educated. Why can't we do it? We can't do it because they're pulling our money away and giving it to y'all.
Man, let's be real. Let's be honest, man. All right? This has been going on since forever. This has been going on since forever. We all know that immigrants even before our time came over and was awarded what we should have gotten. Like that's just is what it is, right? We know where we at, they know where we at, and we're right where they want us. And that's why I say you cannot be blindly loyal to any party, man. You cannot take your blindness and just say, I'm voting for them no matter what they do. You have to be able to call out the BS. And you got to hold them to it. You got to hold their feet to the fire. You got to let them know. If you ain't doing what you say you supposed to be doing and how you supposed to be doing it, we're not voting for you. We're not. We're just not. Because this pick the lesser of the two evils is why we got to where we are at right now. Yeah. That's why we are where we are. Because it was pick the lesser of the two evils. You got to hold them both accountable. You got to hold them both accountable to the same standard. You just got to. But with that being